Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever noticed how a single smile from an elder can make your whole day feel warmer? There's a special kind of wisdom and comfort they carry, something that no book, no movie, and no app can teach you. And here's the truth, when you respect your elders, you're not just doing it for them, you're doing it for yourself. Let's explore why. Before we begin, if you have not subscribed to my channel yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any video. Have you ever sat down with an older person and felt like the world around you faded away as they began to speak? There's something magical about the way they share their memories, their lessons, their little pieces of wisdom wrapped in stories. It's almost like stepping into a time machine. Suddenly, you're seeing life through their eyes. That's because elders are more than just people with age. They are living libraries of experience filled with volumes of stories, lessons, mistakes, and victories, each one waiting for someone curious enough to open the cover and read. The beauty of a living library is that it can speak back to you. It doesn't just give you facts, it gives you feelings, perspectives, and truths shaped by real life struggles and triumphs. Imagine all the places they've seen, the decisions they've made, and the challenges they've faced. Now, imagine the treasure you unlock when you simply take the time to listen. The world spends billions every year on education, seminars, and self-help courses. Yet right beside us, often at our dinner tables or across the street, sit people who hold decades of hard-earned life lessons. Lessons you can't find in any textbook. I remember meeting a retired teacher named Mrs. Harper during a community event. She must have been in her late 70s, her voice soft but her eyes bright with energy. As we talked, she told me about how she had started teaching in a small rural school with barely any resources. Her classroom didn't have enough chairs, the textbooks were outdated, and the roof leaked whenever it rained. But she found creative ways to teach, turning games into math lessons, using local plants to explain biology, and encouraging students to teach each other when she couldn't be everywhere at once. When you don't have much, you learn to make the most of what you've got, she said. That single line has stayed with me ever since. It wasn't just advice. It was a philosophy of resilience that she had lived through day after day. I could have read 100 motivational books and still not felt the weight and power of that lesson the way I did when she said it. Here's the truth. Elders have already walked paths we are just beginning to explore. They've navigated heartbreak, career changes, friendships, betrayals, successes, failures, and moments of self-doubt. And the advantage we have, we can learn from their journeys without repeating every single one of their mistakes. But here's the catch. You have to be willing to listen, really listen. Not the kind of distracted listening where your phone buzzes every 2 seconds, but the kind where you lean in, ask questions, and let their stories sink into you. So, how do we actually tap into this incredible resource that's sitting right in front of us? First, make time for intentional conversations. Don't just wait for wisdom to drop in your lap during a casual hello. Ask them about their biggest challenges and what they learned from them. Ask about moments they're proud of or the hardest decision they ever had to make. You'll be surprised at how open and eager they can be to share, especially when they know you genuinely care. Second, be an active listener. It's not just about hearing the words. It's about understanding the emotions behind them. When they talk about a loss, feel that loss with them. When they talk about a victory, celebrate it. This not only deepens the connection, but also allows you to absorb the true meaning of the lesson they're sharing. Sometimes, the most valuable advice is hidden between the lines. Third, look for ways to apply what they've taught you immediately. If they tell you that patience pays off, find an area in your life where you've been rushing and slow down. If they stress the importance of saving money, set aside a small amount from your next paycheck. Wisdom becomes powerful when it moves from conversation to action. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to make better decisions in life, even when they're young? It's often because they've surrounded themselves with people who've lived more life than they have. They borrow from those experiences, almost like taking out a library book, and return them richer in understanding. Why struggle through every obstacle blindly when you can learn from someone who's already climbed that hill and knows where the slippery spots are? The truth is, every elder you meet has faced storms and sunshine. They've made choices they're proud of, and some they wish they could take back. But even in those regrets, there's gold. Because they can tell you what not to do, where not to step, and which shortcuts actually lead to setbacks. You can take their stories and weave them into your own decision-making, saving yourself years of trial and error. And here's the part that might surprise you. When you take the time to learn from elders, you're also giving them something priceless. You're giving them the gift of being heard, the feeling that their life has mattered beyond their own time. That sense of purpose you give them often reflects right back on you. It makes you more empathetic, more grounded, and more connected to the bigger picture of life. So next time you see your grandmother, your neighbor, or even an elderly stranger on a park bench, think of them as a walking library. The shelves are full, the pages are waiting, and the stories are ready to be told. All you have to do is open the book. When you do, you won't just gain knowledge. You'll gain perspective, gratitude, and maybe even a little bit of foresight for the road ahead. Because in the end, learning from those who came before us isn't just about honoring them. It's about equipping ourselves for the life we still have to live. Have you ever noticed how the way someone treats others, especially those who can't give them anything in return, tells you more about them than their words ever could? We live in a world where it's easy to be polite to a boss, charming to a customer, or kind to someone who might help us. But the real measure of character shows up in the moments when there's nothing to gain. Respect isn't about the other person's position. It's a mirror, reflecting who you truly are on the inside. When you show respect, it speaks volumes about your values, your upbringing, and your sense of humanity. It tells the world that you understand something powerful every person has worth, regardless of their age, job, or social status. And that's why respecting elders, for instance, isn't just about honoring them. It's about showing the world and yourself what kind of person you've chosen to be. Respect becomes part of your identity. I remember once standing in line at a small grocery store. In front of me was an elderly man who was struggling to find the right change in his wallet. The cashier looked frustrated, the line was growing longer, and a few people behind us started sighing loudly. Then, a young woman stepped forward, smiled, and said, "Take your time, sir. We're not in a rush." She even helped him count the coins and made small talk until he finished. It was such a small moment, but it was revealing. She didn't do it for attention. There were no cameras, no applause. She did it because that's the kind of person she was. And you could feel it. Everyone in the store knew she had just demonstrated something rare and beautiful. The thing about respect is that it's contagious. When you carry it in your actions, it inspires others to do the same. And it doesn't just change how people see you. It changes how you see yourself. Every time you choose to be respectful, especially in moments when it would be easier to ignore, you strengthen your own sense of integrity. You create a personal standard for how you interact with the world. That standard becomes your reputation. So, how can you make sure respect is a constant part of your character? Not just something you show when it's convenient. First, pay attention to how you treat people in small, everyday moments. Hold the door for someone. Say thank you to the person cleaning the floor at your office. Listen without interrupting. These little acts may seem minor, but they build the foundation of who you are. It's easy to respect someone when you're in a good mood. True character is shown when you're tired, stressed, or in a hurry. Second, check your tone and body language. Sometimes we think we're being respectful because our words are polite, but our tone carries frustration or impatience. Respect isn't just about what you say it. It's about how you say it. Look people in the eye, smile when appropriate, and give them your full attention. You might be surprised how much of a difference it makes when your respect feels genuine. Third, Remind yourself that everyone you meet is fighting battles you can't see. That elderly man walking slowly in front of you may have been a war hero, a teacher, or a scientist who contributed to the world in ways you'll never know. When you remember that everyone has a story, it's easier to approach them with patience and dignity. Ask yourself, if someone saw only this one moment of me interacting with another person, what would they think of my character? Would they see patience, empathy, and kindness? Or irritation, judgment, and indifference? These questions can keep you aligned with the values you want to live by. The truth is, your reputation is built in moments when you think no one's watching. You might not remember every time you showed respect, but other people will. They'll remember the way you made them feel, the way you treated someone who was vulnerable, the way you spoke when it would have been easier to stay silent. And in the long run, these moments shape the trust and admiration you earn from others. When you respect others, especially those who are older or have less power, you're sending a quiet but powerful message. I value people for who they are, not for what they can do for me. That's the kind of message that not only defines your personal character, but also inspires the people around you to hold themselves to the same standard. So, the next time you have the choice, whether it's helping someone struggling with a heavy bag, listening to an elder's story without glancing at your phone, or simply offering a kind word, remember that it's not just about them. It's about you. Your actions are writing the story of who you are, one respectful moment at a time. And that's a story worth making unforgettable. Have you ever stopped to think that the way you treat others today is shaping how you'll be treated tomorrow? Every kind word, every patient gesture, every act of respect you show, it's all like planting seeds in the soil of your own future. One day, you'll be the one with the stories, the one who's lived through decades of change, the one who hopes people will still see your worth beyond your age. And the truth is, the respect you give now is quietly building the respect you'll one day receive. It's easy to think that respect is something you earn only in the moment. Life doesn't work that way. People remember how you made them feel long after the conversation is over. When you treat others with dignity, building a reputation that will follow you for years, it becomes your legacy, and eventually, it circles back to you. I remember meeting a man named David at a local volunteer event. He was in his late 60s, and everyone, young and old, seemed to know him. Greeted him with warmth, spoke to him with admiration, and went out of their way to make him comfortable. I was curious, so I asked a mutual friend, "Why does everyone treat him like family?" She smiled and said, "Because for decades, he's been treating everyone else like family. He's helped neighbors move without asking for anything in return. He's mentored young people without expecting recognition. He's shown up for people when no one else did. Now, it's his turn and everyone's showing up for him." That hit me hard. David wasn't respected just because he was older. He was respected because he had spent years building that foundation through his actions. The thing is, we will all reach a point in life when our energy is different, our speed is slower, and we depend more on the kindness of others. The question is, what kind of kindness will come back to you? Will it be warm, willing, and sincere, or will it feel distant and reluctant? The answer lies in the choices you're making today. If you want to build the respect you'll one day receive, start with consistency. Respect isn't something you show only when it's convenient. It's a habit you live by. If you're polite to your boss, but rude to the waiter, people notice. If you treat your friends with warmth, but ignore a stranger in need, that inconsistency speaks louder than you think. The respect that lasts is the kind that's shown in every interaction, not just the ones that might benefit you. Another step is to invest in relationships without keeping score. Too often, we hold back kindness because we wonder, will this person ever return the favor? But respect isn't about instant returns. It's about building a bank of goodwill that grows over time. When you help someone move forward, even in a small way, you're depositing into that account. Years later, when you need a hand, That account will pay you back, often from unexpected places. Also, don't underestimate the power of being present. Sometimes, respect isn't about grand gestures. It's about showing up when it matters. Listening fully when someone speaks, remembering details they've shared, being there in moments of joy and in moments of struggle. These things leave a lasting impression. And when your time comes to be the one who needs listening, remembering, and presence, those same people will naturally give it back. Have you ever wondered why some elders are surrounded by love and care, while others feel forgotten? It's not always about family size or luck. It's often about the relationships they nurtured in their earlier years. Respect is like a boomerang. What you send out has a way of finding its way back to you, though sometimes it returns from people you never expected. Think of your life as a garden. Every respectful act you do is a seed. You might not see the results immediately, but with time, those seeds grow into a forest of trust and goodwill that shelters you later in life. Ignore planting them now, and you might find yourself standing in an empty field when you need that shade the most. One day, you'll look back and realize that the way people treat you is, in many ways, a reflection of how you treated them, or others like them, when you had the chance. That's why it's so important to make respect a daily choice. It's not just a courtesy for today. It's an investment in the dignity you'll carry tomorrow. So, ask yourself, if the respect I give today came back to me years from now in the exact same way, would I be happy to receive it? If the answer is no, then today is the day to change it. Build the kind of respect that you would be grateful to experience in your later years. Because here's the reality. Life has a way of returning what you put into it. The kindness you plant, the patience you practice, the dignity you extend, they all come back, often when you need them most. And when that day comes, you'll be thankful that you didn't just demand respect in your life. You lived it, breathed it, and built it into the very foundation of who you are. Have you ever walked into a home and instantly felt a sense of peace, as if the air itself was warmer and lighter? It's not just about the furniture, the decorations, or the size of the place. It's about the energy within those walls. And often, that energy comes from one thing: respect. Respect is the invisible glue that holds families together, the quiet force that turns four walls into a place where people feel safe, valued, and loved. When there is respect in a home, conversations are kinder, conflicts are calmer, and relationships grow deeper. Doesn't mean there are no disagreements. It means even in disagreement, there's care in the way people speak to each other. Respect allows everyone to have a voice without fear of being dismissed. It turns a house into a space where you don't just live, you truly belong. I remember visiting a friend's home for dinner. The moment I walked in, I noticed something unusual. Every family member, from the grandparents to the youngest child, greeted each other warmly before sitting down. During the meal, no one interrupted when someone else was talking. When a difference of opinion came up, they listened, asked questions, and tried to understand rather than rush to prove they were right. Later, my friend told me, "Why made a family rule a long time ago? We treat each other with the same respect we would give to a guest." That simple rule had created an environment where every person felt valued, and it showed. The home radiated harmony, not because everyone agreed on everything, but because respect was non-negotiable. It's worth asking yourself, how different would your home feel if every interaction was built on respect? How many arguments could be softened? How many relationships could be repaired? How much more laughter and openness could there be? The truth is, respect doesn't just keep a home peaceful, it strengthens bonds so deeply that the people in it carry that warmth with them wherever they go. One of the most powerful things about respect in the home is how it multiplies. When children grow up seeing their parents treat elders kindly, siblings speak to each other politely, and everyone pitch in to help without being forced, they learn that this is the standard for relationships. Carry it into friendships, workplaces, and eventually into the homes they build themselves. In this way, respect isn't just about the present, it's about shaping the future culture of your family. So, how do we start creating this environment? First, lead by example. If you want a home filled with respect, you have to model it in your daily actions. Speak calmly, even when frustrated. Listen without interrupting. Show appreciation for the efforts of others, even in small things like setting the table or taking out the trash. People in your home will mirror the behavior they see most often. Second, set clear boundaries that protect respect. This doesn't mean making a list of strict rules. It means agreeing as a family that certain ways of speaking or acting are off limits. For example, calling, shouting, or mocking should be non-negotiables. When everyone knows that disrespectful behavior is simply not acceptable, it creates a baseline of trust and safety. Third, make appreciation a daily habit. Too often, we take the people we live with for granted because they're always there. But when you acknowledge someone's effort, a cooked meal, a fixed appliance, a listening ear, you're reinforcing respect in a powerful way. Simple, I appreciate, can shift the mood of an entire day. Have you ever noticed that when respect is missing, even small issues can turn into major conflicts? A forgotten chore becomes an insult. A differing opinion turns into a personal attack. Without respect, every disagreement feels like a battle. But with respect, even hard conversations become opportunities to understand each other better. It's not about avoiding conflict. It's about handling it in a way that keeps the relationship intact. In a home where respect is alive, people feel more open to share their thoughts, dreams, and even their mistakes. They know they won't be judged harshly or belittled. This openness builds trust. Trust is the foundation of happiness. When you feel respected, you feel safe. And when you feel safe, you can be yourself. That's when true connection thrives. I've seen homes where respect was the missing piece, and the difference it made when it was restored was incredible. One family I knew struggled with constant tension. Every conversation seemed to end in raised voices. They decided to try a respect reset, where for 1 month, they focused intentionally on speaking to each other with patience, listening without distraction, and expressing gratitude daily. By the end of that month, arguments didn't disappear completely, but they became shorter, calmer, and more productive. More importantly, the family began enjoying each other's company again. Building a home filled with respect is like building a shelter in a storm. Life outside may be stressful, unpredictable, and even harsh. When you walk through that front door, you know you're stepping into a space where you are valued. That security is priceless. It gives everyone the strength to face the world with confidence. So, if you want your home to be a place where hearts feel lighter and bonds grow stronger, start with respect. Speak it, show it, live it every day. Because when respect lives in your home, happiness doesn't have to be chased. It grows naturally. Sunlight streaming through every room. And years from now, when people remember your home, they won't just recall the walls or the furniture. They'll remember how it felt to be there. They'll remember the warmth, the safety, and the joy. All of it will trace back to one simple choice: to make respect the heartbeat of your home. Respecting elders isn't about following a rule. It's about honoring the journey of life. It's about realizing that the respect you give is the respect you'll carry within yourself. So next time you see an elder, pause for a moment. Listen. Smile. Offer your hand. Because when you respect them, you're not just lifting their hearts. You're lifting your own. Thank you.